The theme of it was Denim Day. And Denim Day is basically raising awareness for sexual assault, you know, and they had a lot of sustainable development for the awareness of sexual assault. I saw the Brooklyn Borough president there was at Denim Day, and Councilwoman Lori Kumba was there. She was the host of the show, speaking on the raising awareness for it. We were actually on Thursday at Brooklyn Borough Hall and for a press conference speaking on Denim Day. And earlier in the year, they had a Denim Day walk where they walked across the Brooklyn Bridge in support for it. So that's really great because there's a lot of women. I forgot the statistic, but a lot throughout a woman throughout their life they experience sexual assault.
Oh yeah. Right away. Think about it. When you turned 14 or when you got into middle school and you wanted to go out with your friends, how many times did you hear your parents say, you better not wear that because you're attracting the wrong attention? But I think...
But see, and that's the thing we want to support from Denim Day. Of course, I always say, go out, make sure you look like a lady wherever you go.
Right.
But it's okay to be sexy, but there's a difference between being sexy and being raunchy. So... you know, the thing we support is women be able to feel good with themselves and not feel like they're victimized. Because actually how the Denim Day came about was a court ruled the victim guilty and said it was her fault. He said it was her fault that she was raped, basically, because her jeans that she were wearing were too tight. So after that, after he made that decision, women supported her and wore jeans, and so that's how they came about Denim Day, and people always wear jeans now in support of it, of sexual assault and violence as well.
That is so crazy.
That's crazy.
You know what? There's a lot of guys who wear skinny jeans, so does that mean that I have a right to go and rape them?
And touch their butt in the street.
But you know what? I feel like, while it's important to note that, I feel like everyone knows that women are, you know, constantly victims of sexual harassment. Men are too, and it's not spoken about enough. And not enough people come forward about it, because I guess as a man, to come out and say that I was raped or sexually assaulted, it's emasculating, because there's a certain stigma that we attach to men as being these great protectors, and they're not supposed to go through things like this. But it's true. And I read somewhere statistically that if all rape was reported, men would outnumber women in the sexual assault. Yeah.
And that's very sad. Now you can see the difference between the outcries of men's stories, because I didn't know that at all.
It speaks volumes.
You would think it's women, because that's the more of the reports that you hear.
It speaks volumes about what we care about in this country. But then again, a lot of the sexual assaults happen, in the penitentiary system and stuff like that. Yeah.
So some things you could do to avoid any attacked or be less likely to be a victim. It happens a lot, mostly statistically, it happens in parking lots, or when a woman's coming out of a grocery store. This is for women. When someone's coming out of a grocery store, or in a dark alley, somewhere dark, where there's less people, obviously, right? So you always want to bring somewhere that's unfamiliar place, someone with you to that place. The more likely you are to be abducted or sexually assaulted is if you look vulnerable. So if you're walking with your cell phone in your face, or if you're texting, or
your headphones in,
and if you look distracted, you're more likely to be abducted. And this was said there was a survey going on actually in a jail cell. So some of the inmates were speaking.
I feel like I read that. I was about to bring that up. I've seen that on Twitter. Yeah. He gave all tips about that and what they look for.
Several rapists, they were doing a survey, speaking about who they look for a victim. So what they were saying, someone with short hair is less likely to get victimized.
Yes, because there's less for them to pull on to.
Exactly, if you have a lot of hair. Exactly. That, and also if you have your hair in a bun or ponytail, you might be picked.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I also read they look for someone, if you feel somebody is following you, turn around and make a casual conversation like, oh, bad weather we're having today. Yeah, bad weather we're having today. Because now you see their face, you know their voice, and it's easier for you to identify them, and they don't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, fight back. No matter how terrifying it is, and I know people have this fight or flight instinct that comes in, fight back, because rapists don't want victims that'll fight back. The more you fight back, the more likely you are to give up, because they don't want someone who's going to put up a struggle and get away and possibly identify them. Exactly.
Fight back. Also, don't be scared that if they have a gun in their hand, most likely they're not going to shoot at you. That's what they actually said. They're most likely not going to shoot. So run as fast as you can. and usually if you're that far away, you might not hit like a serious organ.
And not only that, but rape with a deadly weapon is a higher charge with a longer jail sentence than regular sexual assault.
Exactly. So So the easier you are to actually kidnap, they won't, it's less likely that you'll be victimized, and the harder you make it look like it is to be kidnapped, the easier they'll leave you alone. So basically, if you put up a fight, or if you look like you're going to take up a lot of time, that's another thing they said with time. If you look like you're going to take up a lot of time to kidnap or abduct, they'll leave you alone. So that's something that should be told to a lot of kids and children. Scream, shout, make a lot of
make a scene.
Noise, make a scene, because most likely they'll leave you alone.
But you know what, too? We need to start teaching this to kids. It's sad to say this, we have to start teaching this to kids at a young age. And not just educating women, and I guess men, too, on how to prevent that. We need to educate, like, the males, like, from a young age, like, that it's wrong, that unwanted behavior isn't right. Touching somebody without their permission is not right. Respect someone's space. I feel like prevention is probably the best, education is the best prevention.
Definitely. You can't, it's sad that people